welcome back, guys. Did you guys fill your tummies already? Well, what did you guys have for lunch?
Well, me? Or are you asking one of the participants?
I'm asking you and the participants, actually.
Alright. Well,
What did you have for lunch, Belle?
I got marugame udon. What about you?
I had some beef teriyaki rice just now.
That's great. Well, you know, Regine, the last seminar was very fun, and I bet all the participants got a lot of insights in order to answer their case question. So right now we are going to have another talk show. Can you please elaborate on that?
Now we're going to have a talk show led by both of our speakers and our moderator. This talk show will help you to get more insights about digitalizing in UMKM. And so now let's please welcome Miss Rein Suadamara.
Hello, Miss Rein, are you there?
Hello, Miss Rein.
Lunch.
Hi, Miss. How's your lunch?
I shouldn't have lunch actually. It makes me a bit sleepy, but I'm still very excited for this session.
All right.
Hope you all too.
Okay, for the second
guest speaker is Mr. Arto Biantoro.
Hello, sir. Are you there?
Hello, Sir Arto.
Hello.
How's your lunch, sir?
Pretty good. Thank you.
And
Hi, Miss Rein.
Hi, Parto. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And lastly,
The
we
voice
will have
sounds
an
okay, or
moderator.
do I need to wear handset?
I think we're headsets, sir.
Yeah.
It's better, yeah? Okay.
Yes, that's all right.
How's mine? Do I also need to wear a headset? Or
I think your voice is pretty clear, Miss Rein.
okay, good.
Yes.
I sing a lot, so probably that's why I have clearer voice.
You can sing if you want, Miss.
Yeah, Miss,
No,
could you
thank
please
you.
sing
I
for
will
us?
leave that to both of you girls.
Oh. All right.
Okay. Now we will also invite our moderator, which is Mr. Indra Kurniawan, Bus. Hi, sir.
Everyone.
Hello,
Nice to meet you.
hello.
Hello, Pak Indra.
Hi,
Nice
Miss
to meet
Rein.
you, Pa Indra. How's your lunch, Pa Indra?
Yes, hello. Okay, just curious, asking out of curiosity, is my voice is clear enough,
Yes,
or
it's
should I
clear.
use the headset as well?
Preferably, sir, you can use the headset.
All right, okay.
All right, so now we're gonna leave all the questions for and the chance for the talk show to begin.
Guys, if you guys had any questions from the previous seminar, you can ask them here in our talk show, because our talk show will be focused on answering your question from the previous seminars. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Indra Kurniawan, and in BINUS, I'm what do you call it? I'm actively participating in a unit called CIDER, Center for Innovation, Design, and Entrepreneurship Research in BINUS International. So basically what I'm doing is nurturing the aspiring entrepreneurs, especially studentpreneurs, inside the BINUS International. If they have a business idea or things that they want to try out to be, what do you call it, future business, if you will say that. And then usually the students will be trained in my unit. We have the 3+1, what do you call it, activity. So in BINUS, the 3+1 students, basically they dedicated 1 or 2 semesters doing the business development, startup idea generation, and that kind of stuff. And in BINUS International, that is one of my main activities. So I help students developing their own business idea and testing their business idea. Not limited to only digital, but also social enterprise and also the commercial one as well. So at this session, I'll like to become your moderator. So I'll help you to bridge and I'm trying my best to spark some conversations between the participants, Miss Rein, and also Mr. Arto, so that we can have a fruitful conversation and get something useful after this session. So I've got these notes from the committee, so that feel free from the previous session, if you do have some questions dedicated to Miss Rein, especially, feel free to ask, and we can start from there. Feel free to ask, because based on my understanding, there are several questions that wants to be shared to Miss Rein, but we don't have enough time previously. So I think this is the best, what do you call it, the best moment for you to start throwing that questions. While we're waiting for some questions, I'd like to spark our conversations more on SME, UMKM, and also digitalization, and at the same time, it's pretty unique, what do you call it, conscious capitalism from Mr. Arto. So, maybe I'd like to ask Mr. Arto first. Is conscious capitalism in best practice is similar with if a company basically do the ethical practice? Is it if a company do their practicing their ethics, business ethics at the peak at the higher form, is that conscious capitalism, or it's still different things, Arto? Pak Arto, you are still muted.
Yeah, that's the problem with Zoom. I guess business ethic always have this relationship, a strong relationship with conscious capitalism. The fact is actually conscious capitalism is the foundation of the business thinking within its company. And this is actually different with CSR. If a lot of people sometimes questioning me whether corporate social responsibility is actually a conscious capitalist, and which is actually not, because on CSR they working within the responsibility given by law to do their social responsibility, while conscious capitalism is actually the mindset within the company, in which I believe the stronger the company, the conscious the company, the more ethical it is.
Oh, okay. So I'm still, feel free if the participants wants to ask the questions. Don't. I'll remind the participant to just jump in, give us some questions, throw the questions, and if you want to discuss something further, please let me know, or please let us know. In this sense, so if a business, especially UMKM, small medium enterprise, in terms of business size, the size of small medium enterprise is small to medium. When they have that kind of conscience to do something good, to do something good for or impactful activities for their environment, sometimes translate to resources. So in my questions, my follow-up questions is, as small medium enterprise, and we want to do good, what is the best first move in your opinion to start that?
Sorry, is it question to me?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's
You're-
discussion. So,
Oh, sorry. You're actually broken up just a few moments ago. Can you repeat the question again?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So as a small medium enterprise, we as UMKM, and if we want to do that, the impactful activities, we want to practice that kind of stuff, conscious capitalism, or just being a good business around the neighborhood. In your opinion, what is the very first steps that we have to do as a business practitioner, as the UMKM, I mean?
I think I was involved in this one program back a couple of years ago with Metro TV. It's called Big Circle. In Big Circle, there's a couple of mentors there, and there's William Tanuwijaya, I think, Yoris Sebastian, Veronica Kalandam, many others, like 6 or 7 of us. And this program is actually held every Sunday, and we always invite a social entrepreneur from different region of Indonesia. And what is interesting is that every guest that we invite on that program, they always started with identifying a problem within the region, within the community. So the problem is actually the reason why they come up with the ideas, and the ideas actually grow up as a project, and then at the end it become a business model. So I think the first step for every one of us to start creating an impact is to identify what is the problem coming in within our area, our community, and that is what happened with a lot of startups who actually successfully, creating their businesses. They try to solve the problem within the community, and then again you multiply that process to a different scale, and at the end of the day, you have a big size and a big issue to solve.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Arto, Mr. Arto. Now I'd like to go to Miss Rein then. In terms of, just for a follow up of our discussion this afternoon. So Mr. Arto said the very first thing that SME needs to do, or the business practitioners need to do, is to find out the problem around the community. And in your opinion, Ms. Rein, how likely or how to translate that kind of, they find the problem and then translate that into a solutions that is digitized, digital solutions or something like that, because I understand maybe not every solutions could be digitalized, but at the same time, if we can make it, what do you call it, the recent trends is the digitalized solution usually has bigger impact. So I'd like your opinion on this one, Ms. Rein.
Yes, thank you, Pak Indra. Yeah, so very sorry. During my session, I tend to talk so much, so I did not have the chance for the students or the participants to ask questions. That's why Pak Arto, he was mentioning, especially to Bu Rein, because there was no question and answer session during my session because I spent talking so much. So in related to your question, Pak Indra, I think what Pak Arto was saying is definitely that is the key point on this, the how and the why. The why everything is needed we need to focus on the why in order for us to proceed to the next steps, right? So in the case of the SMEs, in related to, if I heard right, about conscious capitalism, it's like this is one way a business can elevate themselves. It can combine, Pak Arto mentioned it's not CSR, but it's actually conscious capitalism is also combining social responsibility and entrepreneurship to change the world, right? So it's giving a positive impact, getting a win-win solution for everyone. So how to support this social medium enterprises, and also at the same time get profit from it. So it's for the consumer, for the producer, and for the environment. So making conscious of the situation, conscious capitalism. So it's kind of like combining the social responsibility with entrepreneurship. And where does digital come in here is that living in this industrial revolution 4.0, where we are already surrounded by technology, with everything fully supported by digital, we can elevate it more if we combine technology within these SMEs. So we can reach the farthest location, we can reach more people, we can expand our business, we can get acknowledged, we can make people aware. So it can at the same time produces profit, a win-win solution for everyone. So this is where technology comes in, because this is not something that we are looking for, it's already there. Yeah. And answering Pa Arto mentioned about the why we need this, because first we find the problem, and then we search how to answer this problem. Technology should be something that goes side by side in answering this problem. So it should be something that is already integrated when we're trying to answer this problem, when trying to find the solution on how to answer the why that Pa Arto raised. So I think that's where our digitizing the SME comes in place, where we should put technology inside it. We can make it into another level where we can enhance everything using what is already provided for us. I mean, it's there already, and all of our students are so technology aware. They know everything. They are so attached to their gadget. Everybody nowadays, they always go out from their home or inside their home, or even when having meals with their family, holding the handphone. So we can hand by hand. So together work in elevating the SMEs and integrating technology when we try to elevate this SMEs. I think I can point it that way.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Rein. And go back to Pa Arto. Following up this conversation, if then the technology can be should be embedded into our solutions, then in your own experience, Pa Arto, is it difficult for an SME or for the practitioners in the field that to integrate the technology into their way of life or the way of their doing business? Because maybe not everyone are very proficient in technology, but in your opinion, what do you think about the difficulties in embedding the technology into daily basis for the SME? You're still muted, Pa.
Yes, of course. Our entrepreneurs is not like 100% totally, they not even understand like the basic models of entrepreneurship, again, because our entrepreneurship actually begin just a couple of years ago. Indonesia is not a country of entrepreneurship. The issue of kewirausahaan, the entrepreneurship, is actually only rise for the last 20 years. Yes, there are a certain area there where entrepreneurship is really strong, but overall, I think we are just about to entering the world of business, the world of small, medium enterprises for the last 10, 15 years. So yes, of course, they do have a problem. And this problem is actually sometimes is not mentioned because of the lack of connection between the academic and the specialists and people who actually in the front line of the system. So there's, I think, business information system coming in. That is really the important part, is to systemize the problem and make it a solution that digitally impacted a lot of people. And I don't think entrepreneurs in general can understand or be able to solve this problem because of the lack of understanding and lack of ecosystem connection. And this is why, like Ibu Rein said, all must come together, work together, identify the problem together, and then from then we can start doing every models that can possible can we exercise to have a better outcome. And I think in Indonesia there's lots and lots of issues that we can search and we can find at the very origin story, at the very origin level, And this is going to be our color, our trademark, our blueprint that maybe can be identified in Indonesia, and maybe can, once the model, the system applicable in our country, I believe it can also applicable within the surrounding in Southeast Asia.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Arto and Mr. Rein. Still welcoming any questions if all the participants want to have a questions. Maybe you want to dig some key informations before the competition start. Anyway, I'd like to discuss this further from our discussion from the perspective of the students. Right now, there are the students, especially the university level students, is very blessed that they have the savviness of implementing the newest technology and in their daily life. Who are among the students, for example, didn't know how to use Instagram? Who are among the students nowadays that are not familiar with how to create the social media postings that can what do you call it? The interesting captions, for example, because when they post something, they will create some kind of captions that will attract the click, for example, or attract what kind of sentence usually attract the interest of others people, that kind of stuff. Now, if the students, like all the participants here right now, is trying to figure out how can I help the others by using what is in my hand right now, my technological savviness, my experience or my knowledge in creating the information systems, etc., etc. It's basically like the competitions today. So if they have this kind of potential, and at the same time they want to do good, they want to start their own venture in creating impact in society by addressing the SME problem. In your opinion, both Pak Arto and also Ms. Rein, what are the most important thing that these students needs to do?
Ms. Rein, maybe you can go first.
Okay, Pak Arto. So before I answer Pak Indra's question just now, I would like to add on to what Pak Arto described and explained. I think, yes, not all SMEs are designed to be digitalized. I mean, there are, as I mentioned also during my session, that even the government, they cannot target 100% of having all SMEs digitized, because there are some SMEs that are too conventional, too traditional, that will not be even possible to shift it, to digitize it. So what are the missing gap if for those SMEs that are actually supposed to be able to elevate more in digitizing it, is that Pa Arto mentioned that, and I also mentioned in my session that this is the work for everybody. We have to do we have our own role to do. So the government needs to have their role in getting the society to be more digital literacy with all these rules, and how to support these SMEs to be able to digitize their business. And then the university, the academia can also have their role in also advocating this entrepreneur, because as Arto mentioned, that not everyone is aware on this entrepreneur, what this is, how can they elevate more, like that. So you mentioned that not all SMEs are able to be digitized. They don't have the capacity, things like that. And on your second question, this relates to your second question, mentioning about how the students now is actually being they live in a condition where everything is already provided to them. Istilahnya mereka hidup dalam kondisi yang enak sekarang because technology is there to support their life. Most of us have gadgets already. How can these students play their role in supporting the SMEs for the society, especially for the IS student, the business information students, or students learning about technology? You can try to. Being a student is the very right timing for you to do a trial and error. You learn something on your class, try to implement that using any business opportunities that are surrounding you. Try to implement that. There are so many free platforms that you can use. Try to implement like the small things. Try to create your own very simple step of e-commerce, and then I don't know, maybe if you look outside and then you look at this, sometimes outside your door you have a tukang bakso lewat or tukang whatever lewat, yeah. And during this pandemic, people are feeling not too safe and secure to buy products that they buy from off street. You can try to offer them, and hey, pa, you know what? I can make your product becoming more. I mean, you know that you always buy to that specific product, but because of this condition, maybe you are having doubts on buying because of its cleanliness, sanitary. You try to make a win-win situation where you can help this small business, and then you can also have your own product, right? You can help market it, and you're the person who's actually working and dealing with the social media. You can take it from there. So everything is one step at a time, but you have to start somewhere. And I think this is where you can actually start. You look at the situation, you see the why you need to do something, you see what is the problem, you know how you can make it better. So use your imagination, use your creativity, and then try to combine everything that you learn from the class, from the world, from looking at other people's social media, and try to put them all together. You can build an e-commerce just in a click of a hand. You're prepared for that. I mean, you have the right tools if you want to access them, and then you can play around because I mean you have nothing to lose, and from there then you can start thinking a bit wider. If you really think this can work, then you can try to go to Pa Arto and seek for collaboration, for partnership, for investment. That's one thing to think about. Okay, go ahead, Pa Arto.
Yeah, well, I was remember back like I think 20 years ago when I was just quit from my job. I decided to full-timely focus on helping small medium enterprises. So our first job, I remember, I met this pisang goreng, fried banana seller on the street, and
bukan sang pisang ya, Pak?
Bukan, sang pisang baru.
Oh, baru ya.
This is like 20 years ago, and he was mentioned this, and I was asking him, what is your vision? What is your dream? And he said, I want to be able to have an item in modern channels, in a supermarket, in Rein's market, in a hypermarket. To me, I think to sell a product in modern channel, that would be very cool. And it's not only that, because he believed at that time frozen food is not really it's not really popular as now. So at that time I decided to did this and working with him, and eventually within a couple of months after we decide the models, the design, not only the design as a design, but also the system and how we can operate the infrastructures within the internal. Again, this is all done offline. And we'll be able to lock this agreement with some of the major retailers back then. It's really a model that finally I understand it's simple, because the only way for you to be accountable and successfully create any initiative in your life is actually to be part of the initiative by yourself. If you like Ibu Rein just said about the meatball, tukang bakso, and lain-lain, you just have to be there with them. You cannot just be on your desk doing on your computer, setting up the models, in which you never have any relation with the seller whatsoever, because this is the problem that I find in new students. They intend to work in the computer, try to jot down everything right away, instead of actually in the face of research. It's always fun to be out there in the problem area. This is and then this model done like so many times in my project next following years. And every time we have a project, every time we had a project, we never really coming down to the computers of the system at the first time. Once another project done I think in the small region of Kebumen, when we work in the social enterprises model, we just go there having fun for the next 1-2 months, just sitting down with the people and try to understand what is the real issue. And then from there, we start to take our pens and then start to, jot down anything that necessary to make this thing happen. So, I think the biggest challenge for everyone else now is we always intend to be in action, but remember that the process of research is play a very important role, and be part of that initiative. I mean, not just verbally or through the online, but offline. I think it's the one who make this project different. So I hope you all do that.
Yeah, something else that I want to add, also based on my previous experience, as I mentioned previously, I was working with the government as well. And then I go to all these districts in Indonesia, small region, local areas, where I see lots of potential, lots of products. They have things that are so delicious that we cannot find here in the city. They sell, you will be very surprised on how much the cost that they sell, because it's really, really cheap compared if you take it already here in Jakarta to buy it. But their problem is they are not able to sell it. They don't have the market. They don't have the channel to sell it, to expose, to promote their products. So as Pa Arto said, you have to actually do your research, do your homework, go to the people that they have these products, they have all these things that can actually be well taken. SMEs becoming from S to M, maybe big enterprise. If you can work with them, you as the people who are more literate with digital, you understand more on how to work on your computer, and then produce an e-commerce website application. You work together with them, and then so it's kind of like a partnership, collaboration type of thing. In this situation, you can help the SMEs. You can also produce your own enterprise, so you can actually be an entrepreneur. You can expand it, you can digitize it. So this is really a complementing area where you actually find the SMEs. You look at the initial problem, and then you leverage it into, by digitizing it, you leverage it even more, so it has a more value added to the product. And because I mean, you with your skills, you understand more on how to market it better. You have the chance to be connected with the social media and advertise things. So these are the things that you don't take it for granted, but try to dig more and try to be more innovative. Yeah. Thanks. Okay, Pa Indra. Now you are unmute. You're mute, Pa. Still mute, Pa.
You get two, Pa.
Still mute, Pa Indra.
Check.
Now, yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Rein and Pa Arto. We have a question from Angela. So she has a dedicated questions to Ms. Rein. During the transition of the business from traditional to e-commerce, what is the main thing that should be prioritized? From which perspective should we consider during this transition?
During the
And
transition from
the questions from
Angela. Okay, thank you very much, Angela. So during the transition from traditional to digital, so from a conventional market to e-commerce, the very important thing is having the human resource, having the person who's able to make this transformation, you know, making the person who's aware of knowing what to do, knowing the market. The product is there, the market is there, how to make everything be applied in this online platform. So you have to know how to put everything together. First of all, you decide which business model you want to use, whether it's business to business or business to consumer, and then from there you try to set up your basic e-commerce website, knowing the target market, knowing how you will do the advertising, the promotion, and then don't also forget to have customer service available when later on people still tend to be conventional and wants to pick up their phone and ask about the product. So those are the things that you have to put in mind, and then you also have to know. So you have to have this team of yours, or probably you yourself, knowing on how to build up this e-commerce on this on any platform you want to produce it, or you can actually make like an apps and then try to use. There are so many free apps you can build in, and then try to put a user experience as well when you're developing this app. So those are the basic components that you need to put in mind when you're trying to transform the conventional to the digital commerce. Hope that kind of answered.
Yes.
Maybe Arto has something else to add.
Thank you, Ms. Rein. Maybe Angela, if that's you're not satisfied with the question, the answer, you can ask again to further clarifications. While we're waiting for the Angela, I'd like to continue our discussion today with Pak Arto and also Ms. Rein. Pak Arto mentioned something really interesting. Regardless of our digitalized world right now, Pak Arto mentioned that get in touch with people, doing the research it's still important. While at the same time, while we're designing the business, most of the students, for example, most of the city people usually just do it through survey, WhatsApp survey, this kind of stuff. So maybe unlike Ms. Rein as well in this discussion. So how to bridge this kind of these two different words? Get in touch with people at one hand, but also at the same time, optimizing the digital methods in doing this. What are your opinion about this one, Pak Arto and also Ms. Rein?
Well, that's a quite tough question. But let me see. I think I was, I think a few years ago we created this initiative working with universities, with BINUS as well, to bridge some of the problem from the packaging point of view. So like what Ibu said, there's a lot of good product out there, but they don't have enough packaging and don't enough looks that create that vision, that image, and help the market interest or even want to touch the product. So what we did is we working with universities, and actually the first project is actually we doing it with BINUS, the cafe, and we've been able to bring the real project to the student, and I realized that when we bring the real project to the student, the aura of the challenge is just suddenly different, because they be able to see the real person face to face. And they have to be able to come to the store to see how the product actually display. And that is something that is not common within the university back then, where most of the project is coming in from the unreal ideas, what if we can call that. And that becoming a trademark and turnaround for the student. And we actually apply these models again in different university, bringing a real project. And I realized that there is that opportunity for a real sector engage with a student in academic situation, where collaboration can really create an impact in everyday life, especially the entrepreneurs. Because at the end of the project, the product and the packaging really will be printed by the third party, which is the corporation, the sponsors who actually involved in the project. We've been working with Tokopedia and big other corporations as well on this initiative, and that's really really leverage the program and the trust of the old shareholder. So I think what I realize is that just like every one of us, if you ask me about motorcycle, my eyes is just suddenly like wide open, and that's because I have a passion in two-wheel drive. And I think it's the same thing when the student actually doing the project. They have to engage and have passion to the project itself, and that can be a problem if we don't understand that. So mostly of the problem given to the student is the issue that they cannot relate, they cannot attach with it. Sometimes it's given by curriculum, and this is, I think, the challenge that everyone us need to bring the project in the way that's suitable and interest the student. And this is apply the same thing with if you are a designer or if you are an architect. You have a certain passion, you have a certain kind of industry that you're willing to select in terms of the project initiative. And even in my level, back in the good days, you have so many choices to work with. You want to work with SME, which SME? You want to work with the fashion industry, which fashion industry? Is the hijab fashion base, or you want to go more on the modern base? That somehow will help you to have this connection. And I think to understand that is also one of the interesting topics to discuss within atau among the teachers, the dosen-dosen.
Okay, thank you, Pak Arto. And how about you, Ms. Rein? How do you think the digital world or the digital infrastructure can help people, or especially the students, in doing the research, people to people research?
Okay. Yeah, totally agree with Pak Arto. Passion is one thing. Another thing, from my point of view, you asked about the bridge between going to the people itself and doing research online or in front of the laptop or the computer. My answer would be you. You will be the bridge. You will be bridging the people. You will be bridging the online or the platform or whatever computer technology that you're working with. So human as a social being, makhluk hidup sosial, we need one another. We cannot live by ourselves. We need other human to live with us, right? So I mean, even though everything is already digitalized, everything you can see already in a digital form, there are things that we cannot buy, or we want to have it physical, like a hug. You cannot just send a virtual hug. You need to hug someone, or things like that. There are things that are not replaceable with digital. So I think that's where Pa Arto is trying to highlight that students need to do their homework in trying to actually go to the people, find out what they need, and then so bring both worlds together. So bring this digital knowledge to the people that need it, like the jajanan, the tukang-tukang, that the street sellers. Bring this knowledge. Try to introduce them, educate them that there are this technology that can help your SMEs to become more. Society will become more aware of your products, and then on the other side, if they understand it more, you will be the person who will be the bridging, making this product to become more digitalized. I mean, it's not their fault that they don't know how to leverage their SMEs, because maybe they just don't have the support. They're not as opportunate as you guys are, who are listening to the seminar right now. So so you can be the change. You can be the agent of change in this, when digitalizing this SMEs for the small SMEs that are not being touched by technology nowadays. So you can be the person who will be as a perpanjangan tangan for them, and try to help them develop this e-commerce, this SME. So this is something that that can help everyone. It can help you becoming an entrepreneur. You can just put something innovative, make something more creative, but the products or whatever it is already there. So it's kind of like scaling up the SMEs from this level to another level and making it more digital. If you wish for the government or even you to teach all these small SMEs, it will take time. So why don't you step in and then try to take this role, and then help them and make their products become digitalized. So that's I think that's the red line between people that you have to go directly into, and then making it more digitalized. That's one way. Of course, there are also other options or other opinions that can also support or dissupport that. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rein. I have some questions to Pak Arto. These questions are from Fernanda Zaki and also Eliora Dharma Jayanti. So these questions are very similar, but I'll read the question from Fernanda first. How important is branding and marketing strategies for micro businesses like street food sellers and something similar to that? So this is specific about the branding and marketing strategy for street food sellers. Pak Arto, do you want to respond to this first, or do you like me to deliver the second questions?
Better respond this one. I intend to forget the question.
Okay, all right then. It's actually in our chat as well, but
right.
Yes, how important is branding and marketing strategy for street food sellers?
Yeah, it's a valid question. It's a good question. I think today the infrastructures of our country is becoming very, very good. The speed of the internet is rise like a couple of times back in the G area, and now we have coming in 5G. So that lead into many opportunity of people an option to become an entrepreneur. Back like 20 years ago, nobody want to be entrepreneurs because the success rate of this industry is very high. The legal issues, the capital issues, there's just too many. Also mentioned that Ibu is the way to entering the market is also different, because if you don't have money, you cannot coming into exclusive channels. You have to go through on the street, and then you have this problem. You have to move from different places to one other. So the last 5 years, things are really changing. Every one of us want to be entrepreneurs. because of the technology, because of the opportunity, and also because of the infrastructures, given by the government. And that's lead us to a lot of new businesses, and new businesses lead to new brands. So some data, I think a couple of years ago, you can check 2016, 17, last 3 years, I think we're increasing our number of brand in Indonesia. Indonesia now, I think, is the first biggest brand register in the region. We have 120,000 new brand every year from different industry, and that lead us to like way above other surrounding countries. I think 4 years ago, I went to Myanmar, and in Myanmar, they only have 4,000 new brand registered in a year, compared to in Indonesia, we have like 120,000. So this is, I think, at the end of the day, you are surrounded by a similar product. If you are on a customer point of view, you are similar with tukang baso, the same tukang baso. Probably some of the tukang baso is actually coming from the same suppliers, coming from the same house, and then they're selling it to different places. And we cannot fight this day to reach the customer with only using product, because products are easy to make, but the challenge is actually how you create the brand. And brand is a way of creating this perception within the consumer view to understand that this product is actually different. So you can create a product coming from the same factory, but it resonates differently when it comes to the consumer mind, because it's designed by the marketing, it's designed by the brand to think that way. So we live in the branding era, 24 hours a day. If you imagine, you wake up in the morning, you go to bath, you take your soap, everything is brand. Your apa namanya, odol itu apa ya bahasa Inggrisnya? Toothpaste. Yes, you pick up toothpaste. You go to your motorcycle. And the motorcycle has their own brand. The tire has their own brand. Your computer is a brand. You go to the school with a brand. So everyone is actually branded. It doesn't mean that have to be expensive, but if you see around and surrounding you, everything is brand. Everything is brand. So brand becoming one of the strongest tool to win in the competition, because it's intangible and it cannot be imitated. It cannot be produced with the similar ideas. You can create the same water, but it cannot be aqua. It can coming from the same factory, but when it comes to brand aqua, it's totally different with brand Ades or any other brand. So I always suggest to, and this is what we've been campaigning for the last few years, is that micro company, there's another term. You have a micro, and now they have ultra micro. So ada usaha mikro, kecil, menengah. Sekarang ada kategorinya ultra micro. So ultra micro bahasa Inggrisnya. So ultra micro. And you need this, because if you don't have a brand, people will look at you in the product base only, and that's how the value of the product is always stay low. Brand is always create this image to bring the product actually way above there, and this has also helped the micro company or micro brand to understand when you raise your product to the level of branding, and it also help the margin of the business, the margin of the sales is actually increase. So this is what we've been campaigning for the last few years, is that understanding brand is not actually start when you already have a big company. Actually, you have to start when you have only 2 or 3 people, because then you can exercise, you can practice the process of brand much easier because you have less people to work with.
Okay, thank you, Pa. And a quick follow-up after this. So if these small street food sellers wants to put a brand in their product, what is the easiest way in order to do that? Is because when you're when you're explaining, my mind goes to odading that was recently popular, and also the pangsit goreng that recently very popular in Indonesia. Should we attach our brand to the locations where we're selling our product, or should we attach the brand into something else, in your opinion?
Yes, of course, you have to attach to where the market is. Again, when you have this, apa namanya, the GoFood and GrabFood and stuff like that, of course, you can sell it from further away or further away location. But first, the basic rule, if you have to have a market, you have to have potential market. The second rule is the way of creating brand is actually the stages. First, you need to start with an idea, and then number two, you need to answer the key differences between your product or your food to the other food, right? So if you sell like fried rice, for example, you can always say that this is the house fried rice. It's a family recipe for 20 years. Those narration, we call it brand storytelling, is very important when you engage with consumers. Some of the guy is smart enough to put it on packaging. Some of them actually design their booth like vintage enough to deliver the message. So many ways to doing it. And that is actually the first stages of brand building, is to be present. And usually on this case, visual design play a very important role. But again, as you go further in the brand building process, you need to equip with more insight and skills to develop that. But from the beginning, I mean, if you look at like Rawan Setan atau Bakso Mercon, these are names that already identify as a brand. But can the brand go further? Of course, there's a stages to do that. But in the meantime, you start with a good name, you got with a good packaging, you start with a good story of your brand. That's good enough to leverage you from one business to the other.
Okay, thank you, Pak Arto. And this is the second questions addressed to you from Eliora Dharmajayanti. So her question is, other than conscious capitalism approach, what kind of approaches are there that are acceptable for SME branding in Indonesian community? Related to that, in relation to another approach, what kind of channels, especially in digitalized channels, that should be prepared to reach or to execute that branding?
Right. Wow. Capitalism now is the most popular one. Of course, in the other area of the globe, you still have socialism. Russia, doing their communism, socialism, but it's just totally different way. I think I don't know. Maybe Rein reckon some of the models, economic models in the world, but when you start with democracy, I think capitalism becoming 99%, I think, becoming the way of creating the wealth, the economic and the nation to start going on. And I think I don't remember. I think there's few others back then, but I don't reckon right now. So mostly on capitalism, communism, socialism. Of course, there's many other. To answer the second one, what is the second one again? Can you repeat?
So her first question is, because you mentioned, you explained about conscious capitalism. So she thinks about, is there any other way in terms of in doing branding? Eliora, please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Hopefully, I'm not translating your questions wrongly. But please correct me if I'm wrong. So in my understanding, she is asking, is there any other approach in doing
A
this
channel.
other than conscious capitalism that you've already mentioned?
No, I think she asked about channel. I think right. What other channel? What other channels? Right.
That was her first question, and then in relation to that, the new these alternative what do you call it, approaches in branding. What kind of channels that should be prepared? What is this is the best channels, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I think there's no such a thing as the best channel. You just have to work with
the digital
your product and understand who's your market. Yeah, you have to understand your market, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we only I mean, as far as digital concerned, the SME now, I think the area of digitalization for SME is only reached around 5 to 10%. I mean, the probability still grow very much, and I think when you start to create a channel, it is important to understand that where your target market live, or where your target market actually commute or presence. Modern channel is not always the best way to do it. Community channels now is run really well. Alternative channels in a way that never been done before, I think, is also good to do it. Last year, we almost worked together with one of the biggest airline in Indonesia to channel some of our finest product in the onboard experience. Unfortunately, the pandemic coming in, and we not be able to continue the negotiation. But I think every one of us, especially in activists and brand activists and supply chain enthusiasts, need to open new channels in so many different ways. And that if that need require digital to work with, then I think that will be nice. But the challenge for every one of us is not always see the problem and solve everything on the first stages by digital. It's actually to understand what is the problem and how we tackle the problem, and how we can use digital to impact the solution. So it's not always be number one coming out with digital all the time, but you always have to understand what is the market. And I said this in some of the product that marketed only within 1 kilometer away, you don't need digital, like very fancy digital approach or system to do that. I mean, of course, if you think about make a phone call and that call also considered digital, then, we say digital. But really, again, talking about micro size, small, medium size, a lot of way to create an opportunity. But not so many people are willing to open a channel because it's very expensive. It's not also easy because you connect it with other authorities and regulation to open the channel. But yes, there's also some of the challenges that face in our society now is how to create more channels. How to create more spot for UKM, for SME. The tollway in Java with station is also one of the new way to creating new channels for the SME. And along with that, I think local authority, government need to work with the university and people like us in community to open potential spaces for UKM. Otherwise, you're gonna have a lot of packed product in full product in modern retailers like Alpha or Indomart. Then they won't be able to, to manage the whole product within one store.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Arto. I hope this answer Eliora's question. So probably in terms of channels, it really depends on the situations from SME, right? I do have another question lining for Ms. Rein. So this question is from Patrick from We Can Do team, I think. His question is, the use of technology will definitely have a good impact on the business. But how do you know which technology is the best to apply now with the resources that we have? As you mentioned, there are many different types of technology, from web to big data, AI, etc. But how do we know which one is best at the moment for the company? And how do we conduct the feasibility study in picking that one, I think? And that's the questions addressed to Ms. Rein from Patrick.
Okay. Hello, Patrick from We Can Do It. That's right. We can do it. So if you have that mindset on your mind, then you can do it. So this means that this also answers your own question, which technology that best apply. If you think you can do it, then you can do it. So that's basically the idea. But in choosing which software technology to determine your business, first of all, you have to identify the business needs. What is your business need? What do you need for your business to run effectively and sustainably, like in long term, not only work it out now, but in long term running, what you have to identify really the goals and the business needs. You have to be able to research any available technologies. And when I'm talking about research, it's not only about what's happening at the moment, what is available for you to use, but also your capability, your own. You have to determine whether you will be able to do it using that technology. You have the right resources, you have the right person to do it. If not, are you willing to go for the training? Are you willing to learn for it? Are you willing to go further to that technology? If you're up for it, then there's nothing can stop you. Having the access to that technology also. You mentioned about having a big data. I mean, if you have this access to the big data, then you can do anything. Previously, I'm sure that 10 years ago, no one is thinking about Gojek, right? You just look at this object on the street, people offering their service with motorcycle, and then people are just looking at them. Okay, if you need it, then you use it. If not, then they're just there. But now it's kind of like something that you need to support your daily life, either Gojek, GoFood, GoSend, or whatever, right? It wasn't there before, but then it became available because of the business needs, because people need this, then it become available. Then from there, you search the technology that you use. The big data is, Gojek is so smart. They have this big data that they compile and use for other reasoning as well. From there, they started only from Gojek, and then they have all this go clean, right? Using this the data that they previously have, people, and then making a connection, and then do another promotion. And then you also mentioned about artificial intelligence, from web big data to artificial intelligence. So the sky is its limit, actually. So if you think your business, first of all, the business needs, right? So if the business needs this to be done, then it should be done. You have to think of the way to make it done. Which technology suits the best? You have to be open-minded. You have to try to think whether if you use this specific technology, it will be useful or not. Try to make a pilot project first to see its feasibility. And then use your creativity. I mean, everything you can link it now. You can use, if you can apply anything basically on any type of application. You want your system to be running by a face recognition, it can be done if you make it that way. So it actually depends on how you want to create your business, in which direction, in which area, and then the technology can come in from there. So rather first you have to think about what your business needs are, your own capabilities on making that happen, your access toward that technology, and then put that technology inside your business. So that's one way for you to conduct the feasibility study. And as I said, since you are now still in this period where you can do the trial and error, it would be nice for you to always give it a try first. And if it doesn't work, learn from your mistakes And you have to also, when you think about implementing which technology to use for your business, you have to also be aware of your own the money that you're investing to it. Is it worth it or not? If you are spending all this money for this technology, which at the end you will not be needing it, so I think it's not worth it. So you have to have this plan out. And the last thing that I would say to you is you have to have a plan B. So always have an alternate solution in case this doesn't work. Then you have to be able to use another plan, right? And don't put all the eggs in one basket. So if you have all this investment, you have all this money, don't put it all in one basket. You have to save some in case this collapse. You still have other option for you to run your business. So yeah, would be my answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rein. But we do have similar follow-up questions from Jory from Team Borju. He has a question. I would like to ask a question to Mr. Arto and or Ms. Rein. But I think I'm going to you first, Ms. Rein. Sometimes the problem encountered by SME can be solved using the technology, as you mentioned. But the problem is the SME has limited resources. So, in your opinion, should the SME go for the what do you call it? The bigger ideas that maybe it's more expensive. I think this is more expensive a solution, but it's better, or just the adjust it with the current situations that is faced by the SME itself.
Okay, thank you so much, Jonathan Jory from Bordeaux, Bourgeois in French. I think yes, I am totally aware that sometimes the SME have their limited resources, mostly in terms of its capital resources. They recognize and they're also aware that their product can be solved using a particular technology if they leverage it more using the right technology, then it can enhance their business. But they have this limitation. So that's the part where that business, that SME, or you probably can help them to try to, so it's called resource mobilization. So try to search for this limitation in resources. There are many banks right now. I was actually reading from BCA because BCA is sponsoring this event today. That during this pandemic, their consumer are really it has increased the number of people who are accessing online banking, right? And this gave a specific profit for themselves. I mean, this really boosts up their margin of profit. And from there, some banks, I also assume that BCI is also doing it, are also providing some support, some assistance for these SMEs, because they also get profit if they help this SME. So what this SME can do is that, of course, they can, if they already have this ambition of leveraging their SME using technology, then they should not just stop there because they are limited on their resources. They should find and search for more options. They can go to their local communities, ask information around, go to the banks, try to find out information that are offered for them. The government are really supporting the idea of this SMEs, as I mentioned, that by 2024, 50% of the SMEs should be digitalized, right? So there are many programs that the government or even the private sectors or even companies through their CSR or even through the conscious capital, as Arto mentioned, have programs that can support this SME. So if they have already do their homework on implementing which technology can be best adapted to their SME, they should go for it. What they need to do is someone behind them to support this. So they need to be more active, more creative in finding the solution, go to the banks, go to the investors, promote themselves, make a better branding, make a good packaging of their SMEs, and try to promote and sell themselves. That's one way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Rein. Okay. I hope that's answered Jory's question. I'd like to go to Pak Arto. I think there's another question from Francisca. If we were about to open a new business because it was trending right now, like a coffee shop currently in Indonesia, I think almost anywhere in the world, we will definitely have competitors. How do we maintain the benefits of UMKM, of the SME itself? And also what system should be prioritized? Some examples, nowadays there are many coffee shops, and how do these shops survive? Which side or which system should be our priority? I think the questions goes to both Pak Arto and also Ms. Rein, I think. Feel free, Pak Arto first, perhaps.
Yeah, it's a very tough question, and I think it's everyone. It's a $1 million question when you want to ask whether the business can survive, especially in the industry that really growing and booming at the time. But according to a lot of friends that I happen and reckon to ask question, beside of branding, of course, you need to build up your community. You need to build up your community because the community is actually your frontliner and your ambassadors to the business, to the brand, and also the front end to those who actually against you. And also they are your loyal customer to the business. And I watched some of the finest local coffee owners, Philosophy Coffee, Kopi Kenangan, some of them even smaller scale, they can live up because of the building the community. And I think that is the challenge is, like I mentioned earlier, if you coming to the business with the idea of making money, I think the chances is actually you won't. But if you're coming to the business with the idea of to create an impact, you want to solve the problem and you have passion to it, I think you have a longer breath to work with. So I don't have a valid questions on that, but I think looking at how the business grow these days, understanding your consumers, making them as a friend, and eventually turn them into your loyal customer, I think that would be one of the ideas.
Okay, thank you, Arto. And I think we'd like to hear your opinion as well, Ms. Rein, about this.
Yes. I think I would go back again to what I mentioned earlier, that depending on the business needs, if it's needed, then people will look for it. They will definitely search for it, even though you have competitors. But I mean, if it's the same with what other can find, and if you're trying to produce something that is already, let's say you're trying to produce a coffee right beside a coffee shop that has already a name, you have to think something innovative. You have to think of something that competitors cannot offer, but you can offer. So you have to think of something that is catchy. That's why people need to go to your place. That they cannot find from other place. So you have to define your business needs and what the user actually needs, the customer actually needs. But don't worry so much about competitors, even though you have to research your competition, your competitors. But because if you keep on worrying about competitors, then you will not have any business, because of course you're not living alone in this world and having your own products to be sold by yourself. You can also try to partnership with them. You can collaborate with them. You can add something, and adding value from your product into that coffee shop or whatever shop that you want to at first try to build up. You can try to collaborate, or one way you can collaborate. Another way is you have to have something that is different. So be more innovative, or you can also try to do this model business that I learned previously, ATM. So amati, tiru, modifikasi. So first you have to observe, amati, and then you can tiru, you can, replicate it. And then at the end, you have to modify it. You have to make something better, put an adding value to your product so that people will go to your coffee shop better than to the other local coffee shops. And make use of the social media, advertising, promotion. That's before everything is always about location, location, location. But now if everything is online, you don't really need to be that place to be located in someplace famous for people to come, but you need for your product to be widely known. People are aware that you exist, and people are aware that your product. So it can be a bit people will get probably a bit annoyed, but in a good way, because you're always there. Your product is always there. You advertise good. You give them what they need. So back again, go to what is the business need, what people need, and then try to build it up from there, right? I mean, how this coffee shop survives is because they have their loyal customer. So make sure that you build their trust when you build this this SME of yours. Don't just make it like only because it's happening, then you're opening it, but then people tend to fade away and get away. So you have to make something that is your own signature that brings customer back to you. So having a customer loyalty back to you, things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Rein. So I'm hoping that this is enough to answer Francisca's questions about this. We do have another questions addressed to you, Ms. Rein. It's from Herlambang. So if the company wants to do a partnership with a local vendor that is not even familiar with technology, what is a good way to invite partnerships in marketing and also use the technology to simultaneously change the way products are marketed through the system? What should be considered? I think it's quite the elaborate questions, and hopefully Ms. Rein can comment on this one.
Okay.
Herlambang from Alice.
Yes, thank you, Herlambang from Alice. Nice to virtually meet you. So I think you have to start slow. You have to have a personal touch, even though now we're living in a digital era, but still we're as human. If we receive the attention that we want, we will be mostly open toward changes. So if you are approaching a company that is not familiar with technology, you can't just directly go up to their doorstep and then show them, hey, look, I have my social account. Look, you're promoted everywhere, blah, blah, blah. You're telling you're kind of like forcing them to understand technology. You have to be familiar with the local vendor first. You get in touch first. You know the saying, to know me is to love me. So to know that person is to love that person, or in the other way around. If they know you, then they will be able to listen to your thoughts and idea. You familiarize yourself with them, and then from there you approach them with the technology. You try to introduce how the SME can be better leveraged using technology, and then how you come up with all this. You have to come with a good proposal. I might say that, but not like a corporate proposal, but more like into what you want to offer as the next step if you want them to be engaged in technology. So you it's kind of like you giving advice, so or giving ideas on how this technology can be better in marketing that SMEs or that local products and that vendor. So you come to them as a friend, making partnership in marketing and using this technology, but you have to come to them as a friend, and then introducing all this technology that they can use. And you know how in Indonesia, most people are, they are based on role models. People tend to see when celebrities or public figures are using it, and they will follow. the community in Indonesia have this tendency of following something, having a role model to follow. So if you can find out an approach on which SME and the local vendor in that region are successful by using the help of technology, that is something that you can also try to approach this local vendor if you want to gain their trust for you to develop technology on that SME. I think that can also answer. I don't know, maybe Pak Arto has anything to add?
Yeah, well, I think I mentioned earlier about in the world of branding, you have to work within, different players, and I think what you just mentioned is really important because in a many project that we created, we never intend or be able to connect to direct SME right away. We need to have the bridges, and mostly the bridges is the key opinion leaders, local community leaders, youth leaders in the area who actually open up the door for us. And there is one discipline called anthropology and sociology, and where they really learn about that. And that's why when you create an initiative, it's very important to work together with different disciplines and to make sure the outcome is necessary. You cannot solve all the problem by yourself, and you need other discipline and majors and sometimes partners to be able to make this thing happen.
Okay, thank you, Pak Arto. I think we're almost at the end of our session. So before we end this, maybe I'd like to ask my final questions for our discussion this afternoon to both Pak Arto and also Ms. Rein. In your opinion, Ms. Rein and also Pak Arto, how do the technology up to this point, up to today, giving impact to the UMKM or to the SMEs, development? And in your opinion as well, what is the future looks like in terms of this SME and the digital world? So how do you think about the technology helping the SMEs development up to this point, and what kind of the future development from today that technology brings to the SMEs?
Okay, so Ibu, you want to go first, Miss?
Go ahead, Pak. Go ahead. I will compliment you.
I think if you know, we all know Fourth Industrial Revolution. The first one is back, on the last era, but the last three actually happening in the same century, and it's very frightening because to me, technology run at a very, very powerful speed now. I'm not surprised we are entering the fifth industrial revolution soon. So I think it will be very good for our SME, but as well we need to understand that the technology is also has to be at the end of the day controlled by human, and human who are actually have the whole power to make this thing better, because if you don't, then it can be the other way around. So I hope this initiative, this project, this competition lead us to that point of thinking, and I believe that everyone have their own part to be part of this thing.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Right. That's true. What Pak Arto just mentioned. But I think from the other point of angle, also during this pandemic, during this corona that came out of nowhere in December 2019, where nobody predicted it's going to happen, but we are already entering our fourth industrial revolution where technology is taking over everything. I think we are given the chance, to actually digitalize everything, our surrounding, including SMEs. We are given the chance, we are given the opportunity to make everything, to put technology in line with our daily lives, to put technology aligned to our daily lives. And this include SMEs. SMEs as one of the backbone of the government economy. If we put the right technology, if the SMEs are being supported by technology, digitalizing this SMEs, it can scale up their business. It can still scale up their industry, and people are not as terpuruk as now, as going down as now, but more going up. Us from our side, from the academician, from the private sector side, or from the government side, we can support them by their own role, playing each own role, like what Arto said. The government can advocate. The private sectors can give contribution by giving investors. The academician can also educate these SMEs on how to use technology. And you, as the students, can help build this technology, can help them build this e-commerce. So I think this technology, digitalizing SMEs, is now is the right moment for it to go to another level. But of course, at the end of the day, human will be the one who's controlling it. Don't let just technology take over everything without any human touch, where there's no more connection between human, because everything is taken over by technology already. So don't think of it as this SME will be taking the places. It will reduce the job opportunities, but taking is in a case that things that can be done by technology, let technology do it, and other people can work on other things that is still needed in this daily life. We as human are we are more we know more. We have a human feeling, we have a human touch, we have the knowledge better than the robot that we are the one who's actually developing it, right? So we can so don't make technology as the threat, but rather than we are the one who's developing and creating this, making it into giving a value added for the SMEs by digitalizing their small and medium enterprises. Yeah, thank you, Pak Indra.
All right, thank you, Ms. Rein, and also Pak Arto. By Ms. Rein's comment, last comments, I think the session is at the end. It's already at the end. If may, I'd like to wrap up a bit about what we have been discussing today, this afternoon. So, as students, as potential future leaders, and also aspiring entrepreneurs as well, the role of technology in also developing the SME, especially in our particular topics, is big. So we, or in this case, you as the students, has a lot of options in how to get into this field, and also how to contribute in developing the SME through the digitalization, through the technology savviness that you're right now possessing. So hopefully the next sessions, the next for the whole event goes well with you guys. And thank you for having me this afternoon. I'd like to bring this back to our MC at FX right now.